Oh, Shalom family. Alright, so last video I talked about the time where when I had a dream and I encountered a demon. So we are going to get into the first video about the first time I encountered this demon in real life. Um, Being awake. So it has a little backstory, so I'll get to it. Uh, if if demons and spirits and stuff scare you, this might be a video that you might want to skip. Just giving y'all that disclaimer right now. So it was when I was in high school, and I was talking to this girl online. This was like, I think it was back when like MySpace was popular. I think it was MySpace or whatever. But anyways, so I was talking to this girl online, and then we had just started talking on the phone, and this was like one of the, I think like our third or fourth conversation or whatever. So I was trying to get to know her, and I was kind of like, asking her to share some of her past with me, different things like that. And she was like, "You don't want to know my past. I prefer to leave it in the past." But she was like real awkward about it. And I'm like, "No, tell me. I can take anything." And she's like, "I'm not trying to scare you." And I'm like, "Scare me?" I'm thinking she talking about like maybe she killed somebody, or she used to be, fast back in her day. But I couldn't knock her because I was just like that, you know, not a killer. Talking about being fast, fornication and all that. Not killing. I ain't killing nobody. Unless you mess with my daughter. But so I was just like, no, I'm good. Everything's good. Just share. I just kept prying. I kept prying. Well, she finally was like, okay, just she was like, don't say I ain't tell you. I don't say I ain't warn you. You know what I mean? So she was telling me that she lived in her younger days with her sister and her mom, and her sister was possessed by a demon. And I was like, what? Like, really? Because I remember my dream, and like I got this familiar feeling or whatever. So I was like, go ahead, continue. She's like, I don't need to go into details. I'm like, no, you need to go into details. And so she was like, I don't want to, you know. So she started to tell me the story, but she was kind of like beating around the bush. And I was like, yo, you got to be direct. Like, I need to know this. And so basically, since they were kids, her little sister would like um, throw tantrums, like random tantrums. Like when she wasn't throwing a tantrum, she was like really quiet. She kept to herself. She would like be over in the corner just staring at a wall, or like playing with her toys, but just like isolated, right? And then she would throw these tantrums, and like stuff in the house would move. Glasses would break, mirrors would break, things would fall off the tables and stuff like that. And she said as she got older, the events was getting worse, where it started off at like a glass would move off her desk and fall, and then like it would go from that to more stuff, or then the whole house is shaking, or she said like it got so bad to the point where like she would be on the ground throwing a temper tantrum, like screaming fire, 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 or crash, 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 and like right out front of their house it would be a car accident, like literally, right after she would say that, you would hear the crash, and they said they would go to the window and see a car accident. Or she would say like fire, fire, fire. And they had a school that was down the house from down the street from their house, and it turns out that the school had caught fire, and they were just like looking at each other like, yo, this is not normal. Like, I was thinking like it wasn't normal when you saw the glass fall off the desk, but hey, to each his own. Like, I would have been out of there. I love you, sis, from a distance. Like, nah. But like as she got older, it was getting stronger and different things like that. So, um, she said when she got to the point where when she was leaving, she got old enough to the point where she left the house. But before that, her sister had gotten like physically abusive. Like she would like throw a tantrum and then attack people. Um, it got so bad that the mom actually called their pastor and explained to him what was going on and tried to get him to come and like cleanse the house because she thought that it was like a evil spirit in the house. And she said the pastor came over, the pastor agreed and came over and parked, got out the car, walked up to the front porch, and she opened the door to let him in. And as he tried to take a step into the door, like soon as his foot crossed the threshold, a force like pushed him back out. And so he tried to come back in again, and the same thing happened again. He got pushed back out, and he told them, he was like, "Look, there is a spirit here. It's an evil presence, and it don't want me in this house, and it's not letting me in this house." He said, "Y'all need to leave, or something needs to happen." And so, she said she remembers like times where she would be asleep, and her door would be closed, and the TV would be like on to whatever channel, whatever show, and then it would just go staticky. The room would get cold, and she would hear noises. Her door would like open up on its own. The bed would shake, stuff like that. And she said as she got older, she understood what was going on with her sister. She said there was nothing she could do, but she wasn't like necessarily afraid, so to speak. But then before she moved out, she had a kid, and she was afraid for her kid because her kid's crib was in the same room as her. And then one night she heard a sound. She heard her sister screaming from her room. So she opened the door and ran to go and check on her sister. But she said when she opened the door to her sister's room, she said the way their house was set up, the light from the hallway would only go so far into her sister's room. It wouldn't reach the back side of her room where the bed and the desk and stuff were. So when she opened the door and she looked into the room, she could see like the outline of her sister, like on all fours on the corner of her bed, like looking at her. And then like she turned her head to the side and started screaming. And like she said she felt a presence in the room with her sister. And she literally dropped everything and ran out and ran back into her room. And like she said she had multiple things that happened like just like that night. She said she would like wake up in the middle of the night with like scratches on her arms and different things like that. And it got so bad, like I was just like, man, what did you do? Like, how could you stay in that house? And she said that she would open up her Bible to Psalms 23, and she would pray every night and keep the Bible open. And she would either keep it underneath her pillow or on the nightstand. And then she started making the baby sleep in the bed with her. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And like I'm hearing all this, and I'm still getting this familiar feeling from the dream that I had, because like I said, I felt the demon's presence in my previous dream, right? I felt the demon's presence, and I was getting that familiar feeling. And like she was asking me like, why aren't you like scared or terrified? Like she was ready for me to just be like, nah, this too crazy, shorty. I can't talk to you. She was waiting on me for the say. She was ready and waiting on me for me to say something like that. But I was listening. I was listening attentive. I was just like trying to learn more or whatever. And so she eventually got older. She moved out the house. She moved completely she left, moved to New York, and I think her mom passed away shortly after that. And then her sister ended up moving to New York, I believe, because they still was like close. Either her sister moved to New York, or her sister moved someplace close enough to where they would see each other occasionally. And whenever, she said throughout the years, whenever she would have like a family get together, throw a party, and she would invite her sister, but her sister would either not come at all, or she would come and sit on the front porch of her house, because she said when she moved to her new house, she got her house cleansed and prayed over, and her sister would never come past the front door. She would just sit on the porch, and then she said she would make her sister a plate and bring her sister out a plate to the front porch. And she said one day she was walking home from work. Not walking home from work. She was walking to work. And she walked past this like fortune teller kind of, boutique store. You know how it is. And somehow something just told her to go in, right? So she goes into this fortune teller place, whatever it is. And the lady, when she looked up and saw her, the lady knew her name. And the lady said that she was waiting on her, and it kind of freaked her out. She was like, "What do you mean you know me? And how is you waiting on me?" And so the lady was like, "Listen, I know you, and I know your sister, and I know what is wrong with your sister. She's possessed by demons." And she said demons with a plural. And she said, "I shouldn't be telling you this because right now your sister knows that I'm talking to you, and your sister is gonna come after me. But the Most High, well, God back in those days, she's like, God has come to me and told me that you will come and that I must talk to you and tell you to be careful and to, basically stay away from your sister and get away from your sister because she's going to hurt you." And she's like, "What?" So she was kind of freaked out. And she said she backed up and she kind of left the store and then, went to work. But the very next day, she was walking that same route. And when she came past the fortune teller's place, the door was open. So she went in, and as she went in, she heard screaming. So she said, like, when you walk in, like, the setup is on the left, and then there's stairs that goes up. I guess the fortune teller lived in the building just on the upper floor or whatever. But the stairs goes up, and then they curve around. So she ran up the stairs, and when she got to the top of the stairs, her sister was there with the fortune teller lady, and like hemmed her up and like had her in her hands and lifted her up against the wall. It was like screaming at her. And when the fortune teller saw, the girl I was talking to, she like started screaming. It was like, "I told you she would come. I told you she would come." So she like grabbed her sister and was trying to like get her off to the lady or whatever. And I guess they wrestled, and she was able to get her sister off her. And the sister, like the lady, was just kind of like, I guess, like on the floor against the wall, kind of just like panicking or whatever. And she got her sister out the building. But the fortune teller lady told her like, "Yo, like I told you she was gonna come after me." And so she said from that point forward, she kind of distanced herself from her sister. She's like, "I love my sister, but I have to, I'm a mother now. I got responsibilities. I can't put myself at risk nor put my kids at risk because of, what's going on with you. What you got going on with you too powerful for us to have to, have to deal with or whatever." Because I think they said over the years, they tried other different pastors and stuff like that. I don't know if they did an exorcism or tried an exorcism, but she said that other people got involved or whatever. I didn't really ask and go into detail because as she was telling me all of this, she was like really worried. Like you could hear it in her voice. She was like extremely worried. And like I didn't really know why. And then when she finished talking, she was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tell you all of that. And I'm like, "It's okay, I asked." And she was just like, I didn't mean to put you at risk. I'm like, "What you putting me at risk for?" She's like, I just worry that, something might happen to you. And so, hold on, let's see. We getting close to the, my phone ain't got much memory. I'm gonna pause this right here and we